All right, Nick, let's kick off this episode.
We try to do LinkedIn, cold email, outbound, SMS, cold call, the entire multi-channel thing.
And it comes back to the same thing. It's ironic that even though outbound is what drives revenue for every business, including us, inbound and content is actually how you grow.
Was constantly breaking. Like I would wake up in the morning praying that the emails were just sending and that nothing was breaking.
You've done a fabulous job at automating your business. A lot of people talk about it, but you've actually done it.
And once we tried Smartlead, I literally never had to worry about any of that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on the one business that is generating like 80% of our revenue and forget about all these little tiny projects.
We've got a lot more coming out with some pretty sick experts and Nick himself.
And our account management team, like they literally will just click create draft campaign. And it's a button that triggers a webhook that literally goes into Smartlead. It'll take the copy, add it to the sequence, it'll do all the settings that we want. It'll take the CSV, upload it into Smartlead for us.
All right, Nick, let's kick off this episode. For those who don't know, man, who are you?
I'm unofficially V's best friend, but I think most people know me as the owner of Leadbird. We're a B2B lead gen agency. We run cold emails for 200 plus active clients, and that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Nice. That's a very subtle flex. I love it. Uh,
The
um,
V's best friend part or running 200 clients?
the the fact that you're my best, I'm your unofficial best friend is a flex I'm going to use everywhere right now. I'm going to introduce myself like that. But look, I've seen your stuff on LinkedIn. I've seen, the journey, the story. I've seen the closet photo as well. How you kicked off. So I think a lot of people are getting into the agency space right now, and they want to know how this is happening, how it's happening, and how they're doing their own thing. And you're 200 plus ahead of others. I'm sure you're happy to share some tips and feedback and advice. So, uh, how does early traction work in such a crowded space?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it would make sense to kind of explain the journey. So I think like Leadbird had three stages. So stage one was where we kind of try to do everything. We try to do LinkedIn, cold email, outbound, SMS, cold call, the entire multi-channel thing. And then I saw a really good saying, which was simple scales, fancy fails. And I was looking at like our entire stack of things, and I was like, okay, what drives the most amount of results and it is the most scalable? And in that case, it was cold email. And so I was like, okay, let's just do cold email. And so that took us to stage two. So we're just doing cold email for customers. And then I saw another saying that didn't really help me that much, but the saying was turn your cost centers into profit centers. And so I was looking at like what were we paying for? And it was, Mailshake for cold emailing, and we're just using a whole bunch of these tools. And I was like, okay, I can rebuild this. And so I was trying to learn how to rebuild Mailshake, and we did build like what we called Emmy, which was our email engine, and it was a total failure. And then it takes us to stage three, which is when V came into the picture and we found Smartlead. And I immediately jumped ship on the thing I was building for like 2.5 years, which was like our own version of Smartlead that just was constantly breaking. Like I would wake up in the morning praying that the emails were just sending and that nothing was breaking. And I'm not a developer in any means, and I would get on dev calls with like nine other engineers every morning, just trying to see if we could get the emails out for our customers and receive the replies. And once we tried Smartly, I literally never had to worry about any of that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on the one business that is generating like 80% of our revenue and forget about all these little tiny projects and these email platforms and everything of that sort. And honestly, V was amazing because I was like, hey, I kind of need this feature. Can you build it? And it was there the next day. And like, the rest is history.
Rest is history. A lot of Emmy's inspirations come from Nick. A lot of Smarty's inspirations come from Nick through Emmy. So thank you for helping us build a decent chunk of the product with all the feedback you've given us. Um, you Part of the reason why I also catch up with you just on the side is just to get so much ground heard advice on what's working, what's not. So it, what wins and failures, when you started doing outbound yourself in the early days, what worked? What are some fun little screw ups that you had that you can share? And what was that one of the things where you're like, oh wow, this I can see this snapping in my direction really well.
Yeah, so I think like it's just keeping everything super simple. So like we've never gotten, I mean, we were really complex, and every time we try to get complex, everything failed. But from like your lead gen, like copywriting, right? Like it's the simplest copies that doesn't have like these 10 different variables and paragraphs of messages that perform the best. from your operations. Like the less you have, the less you try to add on, the easier it is to grow and maintain the quality. And same thing from your sales process. Like instead of trying to show them some crazy formula of how you can win, just like literally just putting it out there and being as simple as you can so that they understand the value prop. I think that's how you win in every case possible. And that's been like a core value for us. It's just like keeping everything as we possibly can, as simple as it can. And then just document it all. So I think like one of the reasons why Leadbird's been able to grow so quick and how we've been able to hit 200 clients is that I've been posting content for, 5 years, every single day on two platforms. And, it's amassed 25,000 followers on Twitter, 16,000 followers on LinkedIn, does like, multiple millions of impressions every month. And we've just stayed consistent at it for like 5 years, and it's like I haven't changed my offer, haven't changed my business plans and nothing. Like everything has just been the same. And I think the other piece too is the more people you speak to on a monthly basis, the more clients you get, right? And,
Yep.
and so
Yep.
when we had a sales team, I was on like 8 calls a day, just doing, sales calls all day long, or just like trying to meet people and talk to them and figure out what they're doing and see if there's any like synergy. And so I think those are some of the things that just kind of helped us grow and stand out compared to others.
Literally just on the floor grinding, right? There's like do things that don't scale, none of this like it's funny because now you're the automation king. But from the looks of it, the irony is that there was nothing automated when you started, and that's kind of the part that people
Yeah.
need. People jump to the automation piece without actually doing the on the floor stuff to know what to automate. So, um, you sort of raised, I think you kind of answered it automatically, which is how you build credibility in such a large and crowded space. And it comes back to the same thing. It's ironic that even though outbound is what drives revenue for every business, including us, um, inbound and content is actually how you grow. So I sort of got my answer to the next question, which is how you build credibility. I think credibility from your side, you can correct me, beyond the content side of things, was it just getting more people to shout out about the success that they've had with you, or was there any other levers that you pulled to make sure people knew who you were and are in this space?
Yeah, and this is like one thing I saw. So there's, thousands of lead gen agencies of all kinds. And if you look at the top, 1%, what was the thing that really made them stand out? And it was just social proof and like them documenting it, right? It wasn't just like quotes with like some avatars on their website. It was like really in-depth videos and customer interviews. And I saw that was like a huge success signal. And so literally what we changed at our agency was like with our account management team, we'll literally pay and comp our account managers with a bonus for them to literally be able to document the success that they're having with their campaigns for the clients. And so if you go look at our website, Leadbird.io, you'll see that we have, 40 plus video testimonials with customers where they're raving about the results that they've gotten
Mm,
them. And it's
mm,
like, I don't think you could point to a single agency in the world that has that many like video testimonials on their site. And I think that's like one of the things that early on, I mean, it's super hard. Like if you come into a sales call with us, like, our sales guys are great, but our product is phenomenal. And that's what sells itself. It's
mm.
like, you can't come onto that call and think, hey, this is not going to work when you see 40
So
other
many,
customers
yeah.
in, VC started companies to your average bootstrap company seeing success. And then also working on a pay per performance, pay per lead. No other agencies doing that. Like you see those two things, like you immediately are like, okay, these guys know something. And then you see the content that we put out there, and then
And
like
just all the
all the
dots.
info we've been posting for 5 years, like they're not gonna think, hey, these guys are gonna run away with my money, which is like what a lot of lead gen agencies do. It's just like immense social proof and trust. And so it's like kind of an easy sales process and like easy for them to really trust. And so I think that, yeah, like once again, like that's the thing that allows us to be credible in the space.
So overpower them with like a lot of social proof. I think Fazio's he's had some very famous quotes on the amount of social proof and how to drive that, right? So completely with you on that piece. I think a lot of people tend to get confused or scared on the first part. Um, so I want to sort of dive into that very quickly because you've actually answered the second question. How do you get people to give you a testimonial? Because that's such a very confronting thing. Some people say no, they're not comfortable on video, or you're too scared to ask. Is it just
Yeah.
toughen up and ask, or is there something else you'd say?
So yeah, and I think we've done three things really well to be able to capture interest from clients to do it. So first is like, comp them for their time. So it's like putting an incentive out there for the client. Like we constantly will tell them, hey, we might drop your lead cost, or we'll, give you your next couple leads for free,
Nice. Okay.
something of that
Cool.
sort to pay them
Got
back
it.
for their time. So I think that's the first thing.
Got
The
it.
second thing is you have to incentivize your team. So it's like our managers, when they have their calls with their account managers on a weekly basis, they're asking them, hey, how many testimonials did you ask for this week? Right. And it's like constant iteration. And we're literally writing that number down. It's like if you're an account manager or team, you're gonna feel weird if every week you're telling your manager, "Hey, I didn't ask for any of your testimonials. Hey, I
Yeah.
didn't,"
Okay.
and
Mm,
so it's like that the iteration of just repetitiveness that really drives that forward. And I think the third thing is like finding signals. So after every call that a customer has with our account management team, there's a feedback form that goes their way. And that feedback form is going to have, just ask them like, hey, like, how would you rate that call on a scale of 1 to 10? Anything three and above immediately gets sent to the AM so they know that they did good. And then they're like, hey, maybe I can ask this client for a testimonial.
mm,
And then
mm,
it kind of helps them push forward that way. And then if it's anything below a three, then we get alerted and then we're like, okay, let's go figure out how we can win this account back and
nice.
fix
Okay.
whatever situation is there. So I think those are some of the simple systems that we kind of designed to kind of help make sure that we're not just like getting testimonials today, but that we're continuously every month adding a few testimonials. And I think that's the simplest way to go about it.
Nice. Okay. Makes sense. Nice. Love it. Love it. Love it. So signals, which is what you said, use that to drive so that you're not getting them at the bottom of the market, but at the top of the market when they're actually excited to speak about you. Makes perfect sense, man. You touched about performance led versus retainer based, which I think you actually popularized a lot because a lot of people actually went the other way around, and you said, "Now I'm actually going to come back here." So can we just jump into that quickly? Why and what do you see as reasons to move here or there, given you've done both?
Yeah, so the reason why we're able to do performance versus other agencies that haven't or aren't able to is for a couple of reasons why. Like we have a couple of advantages, I would say. So one, I have a pretty good dev team, and so we've been able to drop our costs across, everything lower than anyone. Like I don't think there's a single agency out there that has better gross margins at our scale, or net margins. And so we're able to work on performance and make less per client, but still, maintain the same level of profit per customer that other agencies have. I think that's the first thing. The second thing is we've just done cold email for 5 years. We ran the business for 5 years. We ran cold emails for pretty much every offer that's possibly out there. Like we
Mm,
know how many emails it takes for us to generate a single lead for pretty much every offer and vertical out there. And so, there's certain offers that we just won't take on because we know it's not profitable or worth our time and effort, right? And vice versa. And so I think that's the whole entire piece of it. It's like we just have a lot of historical data where we're able to say, hey, like this offer to this market, it's going to be profitable.
got it. Got
And
it.
so we're able to take those bets. So I think those are the
Great
two
point.
things. And then yeah, like I mentioned, like our margins are just way better than everyone else's. Like we can make less per customer, and still make more overall, if that makes sense. And then the other piece too is, I guess, like that's our core offer, but we introduced another offer, which is like what we call our cold email. We actually built into Smartlead. And so we white label Smartlead's app. We made it to where a lot of customers can easily be able to launch campaigns from an interface. So they're able to paste like an Apollo search link, write their copy, click draft, and then we take care of everything on the back end, personalizing, scraping, verifying, enriching, all that good stuff. And that's obviously not a performance. That's just a straight retainer. So we still have, the steady monthly recurring revenue to kind of balance things out. So yeah, I think like we've done really well on like the financial forecast side of things to be able to build like an actual legitimate business that can run on performance.
Fair enough. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Two, three more questions for you. I know you're a busy man. Um, you bootstrapped all of this, right? So how did you manage risk? How did you figure out cash flow in the early agency? Agencies and money, like it makes money, but it also burns money. So, any tips, anything that
Yeah.
has gotchas? Yeah.
So I was really fortunate when I first started. So when I first started, I was probably about 19, 20, and it was like right when COVID happened, or a little bit right
Mm,
before COVID happened. So I was living in my college dorm. So I was able to literally I didn't really have any overhead, right? And then whenever COVID happened, I moved back with my parents. Like once again, I was like 20, 21,
yeah.
no overhead again, right? And I was just so young, so I was able to really put a lot of money back into the business and help it propel and grow forward and faster, and then be able to stockpile as well. And so I think that was like one of the big things that allowed me to take a lot of risk. Nowadays, it's more about like, okay, um, keeping everything as lean as you possibly can. I think I'm a very big proponent in that. We did try to scale like our headcount and try to build all these fancy processes and things like that. And once again, it went against our core value, which is like keeping things simple. And our margins like dropped heavily from that.
Mm, mm,
And right now it's just about being simple, like leveraging a ton of automations to just be able, like for example, like an account manager at most agencies can only handle like 15 accounts. Like we have four account managers right now. They're each managing 50 plus accounts. And being able to build systems like that enable for you to have better
mm,
margins so that you're not having
mm,
to hire. Because I think like where most agencies fail, it's just the payroll. Like
mm.
that's what's driving down, and that's their biggest cost factor. And so being able to figure out how you can handle more accounts and do more work with less people, I think is the name of the game.
Comes back to the first thing you said at the start of this episode, which is like taking your weakness and making it your strength, right? Effectively, that's the opportunity there. Um, with respect to um how you're taking the business and how you've grown to where it is, what's one of the, I guess, the lessons a lot of us learn when we start building a business at the early days, some of them actually still stay with us. So what would be one lesson from the early phase that still shapes your thinking for Leadbird?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of basic, but it's so true, right?
Mm,
I think it's like you want to test fast. You want to just be able to launch things as quick as you can. Like perfection, you're never gonna have anything that's perfect, right? And like you're only gonna get closer to perfection the more reps you get, and the more reps you to get more reps, you need more customers. And
customers.
so like our first couple iterations of doing client campaigns, like yeah, it was a complete mess,
But that's
and
what got
we've
you there.
done yeah, and we've done our fair share of refunds and everything of that
Mm,
sort because we did mess up. But it's all part of the learning process. Like every time you're just learning something new and you're figuring
mm,
out, okay, like what's the way to solve for this edge case where I did mess up so I don't mess up again. And it's just solving for that day in, day out. And I think the other one, I've said it like 10 times on this podcast, but like I really believe it. It's just like the simple stuff scales, the fancy stuff always fails. And so just like keeping to that across everything you do, it just makes the business run way better.
I'm gonna steal this and quote you every time I get a chance to do that.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Hormozy said it, so like I got to take credit for it, but yeah.
Nick Mosey. Cool. And obviously we were very grateful when you chose us and we would start to work together a lot. What are some of the ways that you sort of implemented the core product into your core offering? And obviously it doesn't need to be Smartlead for anyone watching. This can be any product in the market, but what can they think of, or how should they interact with whatever tool they want to use to make that central to their business and automate as much as it is? Because you've done a fabulous job at automating your business. A lot of people talk about it, but you've actually done it.
Yeah, so I think like, as a cold email agency, you're in your cold email platform day in, day out. So we're inside of Smartlead every single day. And being able to minimize the amount of like clicks that you're doing is what you should be aiming for. And so for us, like we just built everything on top of Smartlead's API. And so like we have an Airtable where we, pretty much manage all of our operations and stuff of that sort. And our account management team, like they literally will just click create draft campaign. And it's a button that triggers a webhook that literally goes into Smartly. It'll take the copy, add it to the sequence. It'll do all the settings that we want. It'll take the CSV, upload it into Smartly for us. It'll add the inboxes that we have assigned for the client to that. It'll assign a client profile to the campaign. And you can do all of this through the API. It's not like it's
Mm,
like some
mm, mm,
secret thing that V built for me or something of that sort. Like it's all just the API. And like that makes your life a lot easier because think about all the mistakes your team can make
mm,
from copying, pasting the email sequence
mm,
into Smartly, uploading the wrong lead list, putting the wrong settings, choosing the wrong inboxes, and things of that sort. And that's all we did. It's not like rocket science by any means, but if you just like literally go to api.smartly.ai and just go look at all the actions you can make, and I bet you if you just take all of those stuff and dump it into GPT and say, hey, what's some workflow that I could do here that I can implement for the business? And it's going to literally tell you, hey, you can hit this endpoint to do this, then you take it to this endpoint to do that. And then you probably can just go on Upwork and find a freelancer that'll go build all this for you for under $500. And like that's going to be
mm.
the best investment that you can have to kind of just speed up your entire workflow. And
Fair
then
enough.
from there, you learn how to make it better and refine it and figure out all the edge cases and everything of that sort. And then you can ask V for raising your rate limit on the API, and then you're set for life. And that's it.
Oh man. All right. All right. Okay. Well, look, Nick, this was an awesome session, and thank you for whoever's watching this and however people end up watching this. This marks the end of our first episode. We've got a lot more coming out with some pretty sick experts and Nick himself. Nick might even show you how to buy the car of your dreams in the next few videos if you stick around. So thank you all. See you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Easy.